Backliners? What the hell is he talking about? How's it going, everyone? I am the Shaz here with part 2 of the team building guide, focusing on backliners, what that term means in the context of all-stars, the different types of backliners, and how to deal with backliners in terms of farming during exchange and marathon events. I didn't plan on making this video, but it was brought to my attention from someone in my Discord that because I focused so much on how to initially set up a main scoring strategy, then went straight into how to ask for team building help, that I neglected to mention how to build a proper backline. After some thought, I realized that it was actually a topic that needed a whole video devoted to it, as it is a pretty large topic. I hope that this video will go over most, if not all, of the points important to building a good backline. First, let's go over what I mean when I talk about backliners. When I reference your front line, that refers to your main scoring strategy that you employ, which we talked about in the first video. Backliners refer to your remaining 6 cards that, while they may not actively assist in scoring via taps, will either contribute to your scoring by either their use as a member of your Center 3 SP gauge scoring, or by providing passive buffs to appeal from either passive abilities, live show active abilities, or insights gained through training. When breaking things down into very general terms, you end up with a few focal groups of backliners. The first group is your appeal boosters, which by themselves break into several different subgroups. Depending on what attribute and type cards you have in your front line and what attribute song you're playing, you may have different optimal backliners. As an additional note, some of these cards may be frontlining for you currently, but if you get stronger cards, they will still have some use later on down the line. There are certain cards that will be decent or good backliners no matter what because they have an appeal plus all passive ability, so you don't have to worry about attribute or typing. The trade-off is that the appeal boost most of these cards will give is slightly lower than that of attribute or type specific appeal boosters. These cards, if they are not the highest scores for a particular song attribute, will be as follows. For URs, Kotori's first UR, known as Kotori 1 or Kaptori, Kanon's first UR or Kanon 1, Ruby's second UR from the Kimono event or Ruby 2, Ellie's second UR, known as Fairy Ellie or Ellie 2, the Sweets Deco Ruby UR or Ruby 3, Kanata's Fest UR, Kanata 1, the Magical Time Nozomi UR or Nozo 3, and the Magical Time Kasumi UR or Kasumi 2. This is where things start to get specific. You have cards that have passive abilities that boost either same attribute, year, school, or type cards. Again, I will reiterate that these cards are viable to run in specific situations depending on your frontline. Let me demonstrate via a visual example of a same attribute buff backliner. This is my account on the JP server. Let us pretend that we are trying to S-rank a new cool attribute song that just came out. My frontline, or main scoring strategy, will be green. I want to be able to increase my scoring on my taps, so how will I do that from the backliners? Well, I will add Maki's initial UR, which, while she does have high appeal, would score lower than both my Steam Maiden Maru UR and my Fest Setsuna UR. She is a great addition to my backline in this case, however, because her passive ability is an appeal buff to other cool attribute cards, meaning she will boost the scoring of both Maru and Yohane. Next, we have backline appeal boosters that boost same type cards, like the initial Ellie SR or Fruits Ellie, the initial Chica SR or Cheerleader Chica, and the initial Ruby SR or Cheerleader Ruby, all of whom boost the appeal of other voltage type cards. As you would expect, these cards are only good backliners if you're running 2 voltage type cards in your front line, or if you're able to run a 3 voltage scoring strategy for something like SBL. Now, let's talk about the second type of backliners, most commonly referred to as stamina sticks. The goal of these cards in your backline is to greatly increase your overall stamina pool. Most of these cards have a high stamina stat in addition to a passive ability that either boosts the stamina of all cards being used, all cards except itself, or cards in the same strategy. A couple of the prime examples of stamina stick backliners will be Honoka's initial UR, or Honoka 1, and Chika's initial UR, or Chika 1. The tap actives on both of these cards are relatively weak in the scope of the game, which means that they will rarely be optimal for frontline use. However, both cards have a high base stamina at limit break 0 and have a passive ability that increases the stamina of all cards except themselves by 4.6% at skill level 3, greatly boosting your overall stamina pool. These buffs may not seem important, but for certain harder songs and depending on your card pool, they are crucial to your survival during lives. Let us take a song that can, if you ignore your stamina pool, make you fail the live before you even hit the first appeal chance. This song is Koi ni Naritaya Aquaria, or Koi Aqua for short. If we take a look at some of the stats for Koi Aqua, you see that there are some 10k damage notes. Now normally, in most other songs, these notes are pretty spread apart. However, in Koi Aqua, 4 of the 5 notes right before the first appeal chance starts, there are these 10k damage notes. I'm going to use this team shown on screen to tackle Koi Aqua. As you can see here, right before the first appeal chance, bam, 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 40,000 stamina gone, and I'm already in the yellow stamina zone, meaning my taps are only scoring at 80% of normal value. If I don't have a strong stamina healer and a low stamina pool, I basically have next to zero chance to S-rank this song, even with the gimmick notes later on in the song that increase the skill activation rate of guard type cards. Having a blend of appeal boosters and stamina sticks is what most team builders aim for, as it greatly increases your chances of S-ranking a song. However, there is a certain type of card that is also very important for some of you. Cleansers. We talked about them somewhat in the first video on team building, but let's talk about how both types of cleansers function. First, we have the switchers. The initial Rico UR, Angel Rico or Rico 1, the Uma/Cryptid event Kanon UR, Princess Kanon or Kanon 3, and the Rainbow Rose Karen SR. These cards all have a live show ability stating, quote, if activated upon switching strategies, cleanse all stat reduction effects except base stat reductions, with activation rates of either 20 or 30%. Now, as someone rightfully pointed out in the comments of the last video, you don't necessarily need one of these switch cleansers to be in your green strategy. However, if the appeal debuff song gimmick is holding you back from an S rank, you are going to need to be aware of which strategy is going to be your frontline until you activate the cleanse, while also paying attention to the skills portion of the screen in the bottom left hand corner. Then we have the Gauge Pop cleansers. Kasumi's initial UR, known as Flower Symphony or Kasumi 1, Fruits Nico SR, and Sore Boku Nozomi SR. These cards all have a live show ability stating, quote, if activated upon using SP skill, cleanse all stat reduction effects except base stat reductions, with an activation rate of 50% on all 3 of these cards. While these cards do have a higher percentage chance to activate, it is based on you having to use your SP gauge, which could mean a later activation than a switch cleanse in some cases. Finally, let's get into the famous Appeal Plus for rest of the live show active ability and its relationship to being in the backline. You will typically see these cards during SBL and for voltage rankings during exchange events. In certain cases, if someone doesn't have enough Appeal Plus all backliners or has enough stamina to take out a stamina stick, you will see these types of cards added specifically in the hopes that their live show active goes off. Now, some of these cards may be your frontline cards, but in certain niche cases, they may be given backline duties solely because of their LSA and the insights that they have. Cards such as the initial Ruby UR, or Ruby 1, Blue Armor Umi, or Umi 2, and Fess Mari share the same live show active, which is, quote, if activated at the beginning of the live, increase the appeal stat all members by 5% for the remainder of the live, activating at a 30% rate. Miracle Voyage Shizuku, or Shizuku 1, and Veggie Wonderland Rina, or Rina 2, have slightly similar LSAs, but because theirs only affect the members of the same strategy, they're pretty much useless strictly as a backliner. We then have the initial Nico UR, or Nico 1, the Event Fairy Hanamaru UR, or Maru 2, and Fez Kanata, who all have the LSA, quote, if activated at the beginning of an appeal chance, increase the appeal stat of all members by 5% for the remainder of the live, activating again at a 30% rate. Likewise, we have the initial Kanan UR, Kanan 1, the initial Daya UR, or Daya 1, and the Magical Time Nozomi UR, or Nozo 3, who have the same LSA, but instead of activating at the beginning of an AC, they have a chance to activate upon AC completion, also at a 30% activation rate. I will emphasize again, for most of you, there are a lot of these cards that I mentioned that will likely be a part of your frontline. However, don't dismiss them if you have a card to replace them as a frontline scorer for certain songs. Kanan 1, Fez Kanata, and Nozo 3 all have Appeal plus all passive abilities, so they could easily stay in your overall formation as an appeal buffing backliner if another card scores better than them on a particular song. For the last portion of this video, let's talk about navigating how to use event SRs and URs in your backline during exchange and marathon events. For most of you, it will be a pretty straightforward process. If I want to farm an easier advanced difficulty song to ensure that I get an easy S rank for the highest event points and drops, I'd go ahead and start by replacing the appeal boost backliner that helps my team the least with the first event card I get. The next card that gets swapped out for an event card will be the card that provides the lowest stamina buff to my overall team. The last slot, if I have a strong enough sustain card, I'll take out another stamina stick. If I need the stamina to farm the song, I'll take out the second highest overall appeal booster. And that's it for this video on backliners. If you have any All-Stars topics you'd like me to cover, feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video and would like to support my work, share this video, subscribe for free here on YouTube, follow me for free on Twitch over at twitch.tv/IamTheShaz, and join my Twitch channel Discord. Links will be in the description below. If my Twitch and or YouTube content is worthy enough and you would like to support monetarily, you can subscribe to or give bits on my Twitch channel. It is never required of you as a viewer, but always greatly appreciated. Finally, a big thank you to my Twitch subs, CL SIFAS, 86 Romy, Minomone, Shut It, Poker Dottie, and AJ Bailey 3, most of whom have gifted subs in the channel as well. I've been I'm the Shaz, take it easy, be nice to each other, and I'll see you all next time.